I'm Robin Bennett, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Dog Gurus. And Susan Briggs, the other co-founder of the Dog Gurus, is there. Susan and I live in two separate areas, so that's why we're never on the screen together in the same location, or very rarely. Occasionally we're together, but most of the time we're in two separate states. Anyway, we did co-found the Dog Gurus 7 years ago. The Dog Gurus is a staff training and business consulting company. So we help pet care businesses launch, grow, and profit, and we help them train their staff to truly know dogs and take care of dogs really well. So that's who we are. And Debbie's here. So good afternoon, Debbie. Nice to see you virtually here as well. So today, what we are going to spend the next 25 minutes or so talking about is summertime and how you can maximize your what is hopefully a busy summer schedule. So obviously, we've talked a lot in the past, and we'll continue to talk a lot probably in the future about raising your prices and making sure before you even start taking clients that your pricing is set in a way that you can make money. And if you have questions about that, about setting prices, then definitely check out some of our other Facebook Lives or YouTube channel videos, because we talk a lot about how to do that. But what we want to talk about today, we're assuming that your prices are set. What we want to talk about today is, now that you are hopefully seeing a big a big uptick in reservations, hopefully both lodging and daycare and pet sitting and training and all of the services that you offer, how can you maximize those reservations for, especially over the summer period when you're going to be busy? So what do we want to start off with on that topic, Susan?
I think a lot of this volume is going to be lodging. So I would be thinking about most all of our clients that have lodging offer some type of activities and or activity packages. And I think for the summer, putting a fun summer spin on some of those packages, maybe introducing a special treat, or which could be ice cream, or doing something that's different just for the summer, and incorporating that into a package and selling it as additional activities while the pets are lodging with you. And what's important about that is keep it simple so that it's easy for people to make the choice. And usually people will do three different levels of packages. So a low, medium, and high, which I think, Robin, you say they usually always then will buy the medium. And then selling those in advance is important so that you can make sure how many activities you have to offer so that you have enough staff. And I would caution against limiting how many you sell. I would really work on building some part-time people to come in during your hours when you're offering packages so that you don't turn revenue away. And I think maybe one of the upsides of the economy and rising rates are you may find some people that are looking for part-time work just to supplement income. And maybe they would be willing to come in 2 hours, 2 to 4 hours a day, 2 or 3 times a week, to where you can have enough staff to where you can execute all the activities that you could potentially sell to your clients.
Yeah, and some of those part-time staff that you might want to bring on, they don't necessarily even have to do stuff with the dogs. You might be able to hire someone that just their job is going to be to fill all of the Kongs that you have, or rinse them out and put them in the dishwasher when you're done with them or whatever. Like, you could possibly even get somebody that doesn't need an extensive period of time of training to
Right.
do whatever you need them to do, especially if you find some activities that are relatively simple. You could do, we know a lot of facilities that do a turn down service where, just like at a hotel, if you get a turn down service pre-COVID, obviously the housekeeping staff would come in, turn your bed down, and usually leave a mint. Oh, great. Susan just disappeared. Leave a mint or something on your table or on your bed. And so you can do something similar with lodging clients where you offer a turn down service, and sometime during the evening or right before the dogs are done with daycare or whatever, somebody goes in and gives them a special treat in their enclosure. And that doesn't need to necessarily be somebody that's working with the dogs. If they end up going in there before the dogs are in the enclosures, or they go in, maybe even they just put a treat in the dish and slide the dish in so they don't actually have to have contact with the dogs. Susan, I just was like, okay, Susan just disappeared. I guess she'll be back in a second. But I was talking about doing a turn down service where you don't necessarily have to interact with the dog. So again, the training is a little bit less intensive, and it's somebody you can bring on just for the summer season or just even certain days of the summer season when you have these activities. I know. Can you talk about your Cinco de Mayo one that you did? Because I was the other thing is I was going to say, and you might also just focus on, maybe you don't want to have an activity that's constantly going all summer, although I do think that's a good idea. But you can also just focus on specific times of the holidays or a specific day of the week or whatever. So I know you did one, I think it was for Cinco de Mayo, wasn't it, Susan?
Yeah, we did a pretty simple activity. We made nachos for the dogs. So we just did corn tortillas, plain corn tortillas, and cut them into pieces and baked them. So there was no salt or anything on them. And then I think it was shredded chicken and a little bit of cheese and some like plain yogurt. And our staff loved them. They ate them too, but they made those and so served them, and then they did a fun backdrop with some props and did a picture. So it was just a real simple little party, but it was very festive and fun. And people will pay extra for those types of events and special things. And again, you can staff for that day. You can do some prep work on some of these special treats ahead of time. And I love your idea, Robin, that your part-time staff may be the ones who assemble the nachos, and post that on social media, pictures of them assembling it so they know you're going out of your way and doing something special for the dogs.
Yeah, I know. So here's an example. My husband and I were going to Maine in our RV. This was a couple years ago, and we had an RV park picked out. So we were going to get to this RV park on whatever day. It was like, I think we were going to get there on a Friday, but we were traveling all over the Northeast. Anyway, on Wednesday, which was like 3 days before we were going to check in, so they already had our reservation. The RV park called us and they were like, "Hey, on Friday, we're going to have a lobster boil and you guys want to participate?" And it costs $6 or whatever. It was really cheap. So, of course, we were like, of course, we want to do that. That would be awesome. And so that's the kind of thing that I would be looking at. If you don't have, maybe you don't have the staff to do something nonstop every day, every summer, then pick those days where you are booked and you're really at high capacity, and then figure out how you can offer something that might be just that evening or just that weekend or whatever. And then have somebody call or email those clients who have reservations and say, "Hey, we're going to do this really cool special thing when your dog comes this weekend. Do you want to participate? And here's the cost." And that's a way of just generating a little bit more revenue and doing something fun for both your staff as well as your dogs. And I can guarantee you, your staff will have ideas. If you just get your staff together and go, "What kind of fun things do you think we could do?" They will come up with all kinds of ideas. One of the big, more fun picture wise, at least, I've heard a lot of daycare facilities are doing this, is doing the foam parties where they basically have foam that they spray and the dogs play in it and the staff plays in it. So again, another add-on activity that you could possibly do on a couple of days during the summer. So just start thinking about what kind of activities like that can you add
And
for whether
Robin,
it's lodging or daycare.
yeah, and the person who calls to do those add-on sales wouldn't necessarily even have to be at your business. It could be someone who's good talking to people. They could do it from home if you give them the list, and then
And that's another great one to do just for either a staff member that maybe can't come into work, but still can do some stuff from home, or a part-time person that you just hire to say, "Hey, I need somebody to do these calls," and they don't have to be they could be anywhere. They don't even have to be in your state. So a lot of ideas there too. So Andrew said, "Do you recommend using scheduled staff to help with activities or a separate staff member separating schedule just to do those activities?"
I think it depends. Maybe midweek days can be your regular staff, but if you've got higher volumes like Friday through Sunday, then you may want to have staff that are part-time. Even they may be part of your regular team, but they're getting some additional hours that would come in to do the extra activities. I liked having my part-time staff that could help do that during the summer, because usually they were a little more flexible on how many hours they got. You'd promise maybe 16 to 24 per week, and usually part-time staff are okay with that. And depending on what role and their level of training, it's how you work that.
And then we have another question here. So Lisa said, I was thinking about adding birthday parties. I have plenty of teachers that will have the summer off, which means less dogs for daycare, and we don't do boarding. I think birthday parties are a great option to do. And I'm actually going to try to find, I don't remember Cindy's website, but let me go find that. I'll let you talk for a second,
Oh yeah,
Susan.
dogpartyco.com. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But yeah, I think birthday parties is a great idea. The other thing you could do is some type of summer camp, which could be for a week or maybe even a 4-week period to where they have flexibilities of extra days they come in and they're either learning something or maybe doing an art project. And so you would price the camp as this much and how many visits that you would want them to come to be able to complete all the camp activities, which would open it up to more dogs than just dogs that have birthdays or adoption days during the summer months.
Yeah, and I do think so. I just put a link to dogpartycompany.com, and Cindy Krebs, who owns that company, actually works in a daycare in Maryland, but she has her side business putting together party stuff for specifically for this kind of a thing. So take a look at that because that might help you to streamline some of those parties. I think any kind of parties are good, especially if you are for daycare. When we did parties, it was always on our lower attended days. So for me, that happened to be Mondays. Monday was always my day that I didn't have as many dogs all year round, pretty much. So anytime I would ever do a party, I would do the party on Monday, which would maximize Monday because people would register just for the party. When they wouldn't normally come on Monday, they would come on Monday if I was having a party. It helped to generate revenue on those off days for us when attendance was usually lower. And then I was also going to say, speaking of teachers are another place to look for those extra help. If you're looking for a little bit of extra help that just during the summer, teachers are another avenue for that because they are off during the summer and maybe they don't want to work full time, but maybe they wouldn't mind earning a few hours by doing those phone calls that we talked about or by coming in and helping you organize something or take pictures or whatever it is. So I think a lot of those are potential for that too. I know in this situation, you're saying they're not bringing their dog to daycare, but I do think there's opportunities for doing any kind of parties throughout the summer. And the tip that we would always say is plan for those parties, especially photos in advance, so that even like when people do, if you're going to do photos over like the 4th of July, for instance, I'd be taking 4th of July pictures now. Like I would have already taken a whole bunch of them so that on the 4th of July day, you're not trying to do every single dog that's there because some of them hopefully have come in the previous weeks and you've already taken their picture. It just is a lot less stressful for your staff to do it that way. And then Andrew also said you could implement trick of the month if you haven't already, which is awesome idea. So we'll talk about that in a second. It may encourage those teachers who aren't using daycare during the summer to feel more inclined to bring them in to learn the tricks, which is a really good point. That's similar to what I was saying with the parties is you're right. Those people who don't have their dog and don't need to bring their dog to daycare because they're at work might want to bring their dog in to have some fun. And trick of the month is another one. So if you're not familiar with trick of the month, we partnered with Blue Nine Pet Products. You could certainly do this on your own. If you have trainers who already know how to teach tricks, you could just do this on your own. Basically, the principle is every month you offer a trick that you're going to teach the dogs that come to daycare who are signed up and have paid extra for trick of the month. It means that they have to obviously come to daycare or come to your facility a few times at least that month so that you have time to teach the trick. And then, so they're paying for those days, but then they're also paying some fee to actually have the trick of the month taught. So they're getting charged for both of those things. And if you have a trainer on staff who already knows how to teach some simple tricks, then that trainer just spends the days working with the dogs that are in trick of the month to teach them the trick. And then once they've learned it, then they show the owner how to do that trick when the owner picks the dogs up. And they're basic tricks, not anything like super complicated. But for those that don't have a trainer on staff or don't have anybody that knows how to teach tricks, we did partner, the Dog Gurus partnered with Blue Nine Pet Products to create 15 different tricks along with handouts and resources and training videos for your staff so that they actually know and can learn how to teach the tricks. So everything you need to actually implement trick of the month, we have available, and it's a one-time fee. I think it's $249. I can't remember if that's right, but it's a one-time fee for you. And then you're using that all for the next 15 months, basically, and you're charging monthly for your clients. So you make your money back really quickly. And again, like Andrew said, it's a really good reason to remind people, oh, don't forget, you need to bring your dog in for a few days so that we can teach the trick of the month to them this month. So that's another opportunity as well to generate more revenue during the summer season with an add-on service.
Yeah, add-on services can be cross-selling, like nail trims, departure baths, or even just regular baths and grooms. In the summertime, making sure you're offering that when people are making reservations as part of your reservation process is important. Or if you do those confirmation calls, like with your RV park, do you want to add this on? And then setting goals and tracking what percentage of people are taking advantage of these. And again, you want to do it as much in advance as you can so you do have the staffing there to make sure you can execute. I just hate it when people say, I'm having to turn away doing services and revenue because I don't have enough staff. And that's why having the part-time people and getting the reservations for activities and add-ons as early as you can so you can plan your staffing accordingly is important.
And so let's talk a little bit, because we're always going to come back to pricing. But what I want to talk about briefly, I won't go into setting your prices, although we do want to make sure you're doing that. But what we're really looking at when you're tracking those goals, because you definitely want to estimate like how many of these can you sell? And if you think you can't sell that many, then what can you do to get prepared so that you can sell more. So if it's like Kongs are a good example. If you don't have enough Kongs to sell more than 5, then you need to buy some more Kongs before you do some kind of a Kong activity so that you can sell a lot more. But if it's something like the Cinco de Mayo example that Susan gave, maybe you have to prepare some food thing and freeze it ahead of time because the day of you can only make 100. And so maybe you make more before the day of and you freeze those so you have them ready. So that kind of planning. So you want to set those goals. But the other thing that we would look at overall throughout the summer is the whole idea of increasing your revenue per pet is what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
And so what you want to make sure of is that you start with what is your revenue per pet? And hopefully you can quickly figure that out using data from, if not the last year, then at least maybe the last month or the last few weeks. Try to figure out how much are you making per pet that comes into your facility. And I'll let you go into a little bit more of an explanation of that, Susan, because I want to go look up something else really quick while you're doing that.
Okay. Yeah, revenue per pet. The simplest way to do it is to have, just for an overall view of your business, would be to start with what was your total revenue? So we're in June. So I would look at May. What was my total revenue? And then you're going to divide that by the number of services you offered. So if you offer daycare, lodging, and grooming, then you would be saying, okay, how many daycare days did I have? How many dogs came every day? And that would be units. You're counting dogs that paid. And then how many dog nights, because most people charge by night for lodging. How many dog nights did I have? And then how many grooming and bathing dogs did I have? And you just add all those units up. You're going to divide that total revenue by all of your units, and that gives you overall for your business your revenue per pet. And that becomes your baseline. And so now what your goal would be is to say, okay, how can we upsell other things to, or cross sell different services to the clients we already know are going to be coming into our business in June, July, and August to get that revenue per pet up.
Okay, I'm typing this in real quick.
Okay.
So one of the activities that we would recommend doing is looking at that number of units. Let's say we'll just say 1,000 just to make it easy. So during last month, you did 1,000 services, whether it's daycare dogs that came in multiple, however many times, or grooming clients that came in however many times, or training clients that came in, or pet sits, or whatever. Let's just say it's 1,000. And if you just look at that and you say, okay, if I could just increase the revenue per pet even by $5, then if you take that 1,000 by 5, guess what? That's 5,000.
Yeah.
You're increasing your revenue by $5,000 just by getting each client to pay a tiny bit more for something. And in reality, you're probably not going to sell 100%, upsell 100% to every single client, but you're going to probably sell, we would say at a minimum, you can, if you're actively promoting these additional services that you have and the additional opportunities that you have, we would say at a minimum, you're going to get at least 20%. The reality is you're probably going to get higher than that. It's probably not going to be 100% though. But still, the goal is to take that, understand what your baseline is, and then figure out, just give yourself a goal to say, I want to try to increase that by $5 or $3 or $10, whatever it is. And then at the end of the month, then do that calculation again. Did you increase your revenue per pet? Because if you're increasing your revenue per pet, then you're going to be ideally increasing your profits as well. So that's a kind of basic formula, and you can do that revenue per pet calculation by service as well, which gives you even more detail. But we would just start by keeping it simple and just doing it overall for your business, and then make it a goal to increase that revenue per pet.
And the other good thing, Robin, about some of these like activities like a stuffed Kong, or you may want to keep it simple and just make yogurt cups, frozen yogurt cups. Your cost per unit can be very low for these, but you can mark them up quite a bit. I would be charging $5 to $8 for special treats, if not even 10. You got to know your market. And it makes it easy for pet parents to say yes, because it's a lower price point.
Someone was just asking me the other day about, because I almost mentioned Frosty Paws earlier in this conversation, and then I got sidetracked, so I didn't. But yogurt cups are a similar thing. And the thing about those yogurt cups is you can get those little Dixie cups or whatever, or you can put it in a Kong, but you can freeze those in advance. So that's another one. You can prepare a lot of them in advance. You don't have to do it all that day. The other one I was thinking of was, someone was just talking to me about this the other day about puppuccinos at Starbucks.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, what do you mean they give your dog a puppuccino? And I was like, oh yeah, if you go in there with your dog, they'll just give you a puppuccino. And she was asking what it was. And I was like, it's just whipped cream.
Yeah.
And she's, so basically all these people just want whipped cream for their dog. Like, she's not a dog person. So it was just a funny conversation, because I was, when you put it like that, it doesn't seem very interesting, but my dogs love the puppuccinos and I would pay for it. At Starbucks, they give me that for free, but I would pay for a puppuccino. But anyway, it's another easy one is just get whipped cream and put it in a container or whatever and give it to the dogs, and as a special treat, and call it some cute name that fits your brand, and voila, you have a pretty easy add-on service that you could do especially during the summer. So I had a couple questions. Hang on a second. All right. So Allison says, I know you just had your yearly seminar in April. Do you know when the next one will be? As a matter of fact, Allison, we don't know when the next live seminar will be, in-person seminar, but we are planning, we're in the planning stages of a virtual event that we're going to do called, wait, we just named it yesterday. Now I have to remember.
Profitability.
Proactive Profitability, which is it's a 3-day, it'll be really 2.5 days. It's August 25th through 28th, 25th, 27th, August 25th. No. Wait, okay, Susan's going to fix this all for me.
Yeah, because I was working on it today. It's August 22nd to the 25th. It ends on the 25th.
25th. Okay, I'm putting the dates down here.
But yes, it's a master class, because we know that right now people are a little concerned about their profitability. So we're going to help you on that in depth.
Yeah. And the cost, we do know the cost is going to be $97. We're keeping it super cheap. And that's $97 for your whole facility. So it's really at a level that it's not really going to be for your employees. It's really for you, and as an owner, or your general managers or key leaders who have decision-making authority in your business. That's who it's for. But if you have multiple people of those in your facility, then you just sign up and huddle around one computer and you can do it for $97. But our whole goal for that, the reason we're putting it together, is to help people make proactive plans to counter inflation and all the costs we're seeing rising, staff wages going up, and still be able to essentially recession-proof your business. So it's going to be definitely a masterclass, so expect to work, but we are going to be having that in August, and we'll be probably selling tickets as early as the beginning of July. We're still literally getting it all put together now. We have the schedule and all that. And it's primarily me and Susan teaching. We'll have a Facebook group where you can interact with us, ask lots of questions. It's going to be an intensive 2.5 days, but it'll be a lot of fun. I think you'll get a lot of value out of that. So hopefully we'll see you at that, Allison. And then Jamie said, one of the add-ons that was inexpensive for me to add to the training classroom was offering pre-bagged homemade cookies for sale during class. That's a great idea. I have a table set up and pet parents can just grab a bag and leave their money in a container that is set on the table in the class, or they can send in a transfer afterwards. So that's a really good idea too. I also have seen people in some facilities because when you're doing training, there's not always time unless you have an extra person to help sell stuff. So I've also seen facilities put in vending machines where they just have clickers or treats or Kongs or whatever stuff you sell in a vending machine. So I've seen that too. And then I also have seen in my vet's office, actually last month, I took my dog to the vet and they were doing construction in their front office. So when I checked out, they brought me through the side door. And then when I checked out, they were like, we're just going to send you an invoice. And I was like, oh, okay. So I left without paying. And then I got a text with a link to pay. So it sounds like that's what you're doing also, Jamie, that they can pay after they leave. So a lot of those are ideal opportunities as well. So don't think outside the box for how you can generate some additional revenue, and especially if it's stuff that you're recommending anyway. But the treats are great, homemade treats or just unique treats that you can't get everywhere. We love the Einstein treats.
Yeah, breakfast thing. It sounds so good.
Oh yeah, I just saw she came out with a new product. But Einstein Pets they're made in small batches. They're really healthy for dogs. They have no chemicals. They have no byproducts and all that. I mean, people can eat them. Actually, they're pretty good. I have eaten some of my dogs, but so those are another treat that we really like as well. So Andrew said is the masterclass is online. It's all online. So $97. And then we're doing it primarily through Zoom, although we will have a online platform as well. So no hotel, no travel, none of that.
Saves time.
All right.
To focus and be present during the work sessions and get some work done.
Exactly. All right. So I think we're just about out of time. Hopefully this just gives you some ideas for ways to start maximizing your summer. Summer is just started. So if maybe you have some of these activities already planned, but I would say plan more. So take a look at, as Susan mentioned right in the very beginning, whatever your normal packages are, this is a good time to maybe refresh them and make them new, maybe give them a new name, or make them just a summer only activity. Yeah. So just add something in this is only going to be offered during the summer. And maybe it's not every day. Maybe it's just, like we said, certain days of the month or certain days of the week. But anything that you can do to generate some interest from those clients, give you an opportunity to reach out to them and see if they want to participate in some of those fun activities. And if you aren't full, then it's a good way to fill some of those times when you have openings or have some vacancies, whether it's in daycare or in lodging. But the biggest thing is you want to make sure that you're increasing that revenue per pet, trying to plan out things that don't take a ton of time or expense on your side, but that are valuable to the pet parent are really what you want to start looking at. And like I said, if you can't think of things, I can guarantee you your staff will. Your staff is going to have some fun ideas. So get them together and come up with ideas together as a group, because I think they'll be excited about doing that stuff too.